when Fender came out with the Classic Player Jazzmaster, they made some significant changes to the guitar, all in the interest of improving it for what they call the modern player. A couple of those changes seem like good ideas. They moved the tremolo tailpiece closer to the bridge for better break angle and downward pressure, and it seems to increase the sustain. And they also angled the neck pocket for the neck a little bit, which helps to accomplish the same thing, better sustain and break angle on the bridge. One of the things they did that maybe I don't like so much was they put in a tune-o-matic bridge instead of the traditional Jazzmaster bridge. Well, pretty much deactivated the tremolo. It just, tune-o-matic bridges don't move, and so you really don't have a functional tremolo with that tune-o-matic bridge on the Classic Player. Additionally, the radius on the fingerboard radius on the Classic Player Jazzmaster is a 9.5 inch, very comfortable Fender radius, but the radius on the tune-o-matic bridge is 12 inches. That's the Gibson radius. So 12-inch radius is flatter than a 9-inch radius, 9.5 inch radius. So what that means is that if you set your Jazzmaster up for optimal action at the high E and the low E, then the middle strings are likely going to be so low that they rattle and buzz against the fretboard. So for me, the tune-o-matic bridge has to go. But that presents some challenges because you can't just put the Jazzmaster bridge in where the tune-o-matic bridge was, because the inserts for the tune-o-matic bridge are rather large. So what I've just finished doing here was drilling out the inside of the insert for the tune-o-matic bridge. It had to be pulled from the Jazzmaster body first, and I drilled out both of these inserts just enough to allow the Jazzmaster inserts to go in. Here's a close-up of the ferrule being pressed in. You can see the Jazzmaster ferrule that is inserted into the tune-o-matic bushing, and nice and smooth. And now we're able to put the Jazzmaster bridge back on this guitar and turn it into a real Jazzmaster. We've replaced the tune-o-matic bridge on this Classic Player Jazzmaster with a Jazzmaster bridge. There's another reason why this is important. I've put a set of Lindy Fralin Jazzmaster pickups in this guitar to give it a nice authentic Jazzmaster sound. And these pickups have staggered pole pieces, which pretty much match the 9.5 inch radius of the fretboard. Well, if you leave the tune-o-matic bridge in, or you try and match these up with the tune-o-matic bridge, that bridge is a 12-inch radius. So it's going to put the middle two strings, actually the middle four strings, much closer to the pickup magnets than the outer two E and high E and low E. So it's not just an issue with action, it's also an issue with sound. So if you're playing this guitar with the tune-o-matic bridge and the staggered classic Jazzmaster pole pieces, you're going to get dropout. You're going to have a much softer high E and low E and way too hot D and G. So the Jazzmaster bridge, of course, has individual saddles, so we can adjust each string to match the radius. Instead of using a roller, here's how I'm going to do it. I've got this guitar plugged in, so I'm going to let the amplifier and my ear tell me how to set the radius. You can hear that ringing clear. So I'm going to lower the saddle until it's hitting the radius of the fret. It's hitting the fret here. Now I'm going to raise the saddle just enough so that it is ringing clear. All right, so now I've set the E string to the radius of the fingerboard right where it goes over the neck. Now this is still way, way, way too low for action. All we're doing right now is setting the radius. We're going to do the same thing with the B string. All right. Good. So what I'm using the saddles for on the Jazzmaster is adjusting all the strings to proper height for radius. We don't use the saddles to adjust action height. That's what we use these two outside post screws for. So a lot of people complain about Jazzmaster screws falling out of the saddles. It's because they're probably using those screws to set action, and that's not what you want to do. Now that we have each of the saddles adjusted so that they match the radius, the string is just barely off each fret. Now we're going to set action height, and then after that we'll set intonation. You can't set intonation before setting action because the strings are too close to the fretboard. They'll just rattle and buzz. So I've set the action to 4/64ths on the high E and about just under 6/64ths on the low E. Action height varies depending on your pick attack, gauge strings, the neck relief that you put on the neck. It varies for everybody, so setups are very personal. I just adjusted the action by inserting the Allen wrench into the post here for the adjustable center post, and and I am setting the bridge so that it is pivoted right in the center. Now here's what you get after you put a real Jazzmaster bridge on a Jazzmaster. It's a very sensitive, responsive tremolo. It's not for dive bombs and stuff, but boy, is it great for the atmospheric effect. So now that we've got the action set, the radius on the saddle set, we're going to make sure the intonation is correct, and this guitar will be ready to play. This Classic Player Fender Jazzmaster had really good bones, has really good bones, but I really like the vintage vibe of the Jazzmaster, what it has to offer in its original form, the way Leo Fender designed it. So this updated version, although I think the tailpiece moved closer to the bridge is a great idea. I wasn't crazy about the hot P90-ish pickups they put in this, so I dropped a set of Lindy Fralins in to give you that classic. And I got rid of the Tune-O-Matic bridge, which was choking out the tremolo tailpiece, by retrofitting in a standard Jazzmaster bridge and then setting it up as you just saw in the video. And I'm really happy with the result. This one's going to stay in my personal collection at least for a while. I'm having a lot of fun playing it, and on a recent gig I took a couple of guitars and just ended up playing this one the whole night. So thanks for watching the video. I hope you picked up some tips on how to set up a Jazzmaster and a Jazzmaster bridge. And as always, keep on picking. I'm going to do a couple of, well, here's what's cool about the Jazzmaster. So when this switch is in the down position, the rhythm switch, you get all this combination from below. With that really nice, sensitive, moody tremolo. The bridge pickup is really kind of musical. No ice pick in it. But when we flip the switch and go to the rhythm circuit, we hear what Leo Fender had intended for this guitar. Roll off the tone, and we get so I think I'll play out in the jazz mode.